will completely look what is DBT and what is the need for DBT in the data engineering or data pipeline data engineering ecosystem. What is the need for this DBT, and what are the important things or important challenges that the current data pipelines data engineers face that DBT is trying to like trying to help them, trying to help them to overcome those challenges. So these kind of things we will see. So before starting, so we'll look at the difference between two terms: data engineer.
Nagaraj, can you please zoom your notepad?
Zoom,
Yeah,
is that
little bit
fine?
more. Little bit more. Yeah, that's fine. Thank you.
So versus data analysts, right? So yeah, we know like what are the roles of data analyst, right? Data analyst will take the data, uh, pretty much almost, which is almost clean data, I would say. He will take most of the cases that people will say that data analysis includes taking the data, cleaning it, transforming it, but mostly the data coming to data analyst in the most of the scenarios, it will be in a clear table structure format. He will take the data, he will apply the transformations according to his input, to the inputs given to him by the business team, and he will prepare dashboards or whatever the end user dashboards and reports, and he will give it to the end user. So that's typically the work of a data analyst, right? So the inputs to the data analyst is given by the business user, so they will say that I want these things in report, these things in report, all these things. So data analyst gets those data, and he transforms the data, he prepares reports and give it to the business user. So what is the role of data engineer? So data engineer is a guy like who gets data, who collects data from multiple sources, right? He will collect data from multiple sources, whether it be structured, unstructured, semi structured. So he will try to get all the source data and try to give it a structure, right? He will try to give it a structure, and he will put the data, the stakeholder of a data engineer is data analyst. He will consume the data which is the output of the data engineer task. He will take the data, he'll consume it, he will do his little transformations, he will prepare a report. That is the job of data analyst. So data engineer stakeholders will be mostly data analysts, right? Data engineer, his role is collecting this data from multiple sources and trying to give them a structure, right? He will try to give that raw data, he will try to give it a structure, and he will make the data in a presentable format, he will give it to data analyst. So he will build it. So his work is mainly he will build a data pipeline to streamline this all these processes, to orchestrate all these processes. Means let's say he's collecting data from three sources, he is doing some transformations, and he is loading data into target system. So what he will do, he will use a ETL tool. Let's say if he wants to use low code to no code platform, he will just use an ETL tool like a Talent or Matillion 5tron, something like this, and he will pull the data. He will do the transformations in the ETL tool, he will load the data in the target space. So that is the job of data engineer. And his job also involves a lot of coding, because he have to orchestrate this data pipeline, and he also have to maintain this data pipeline, because every time he cannot manually do these things, right? So he will find a way, he will write some code to automate this entire data pipeline. So that is his job. So now, if you observe, there is a big gap here, right? So the inputs to data analyst given by the business people. So he will be expecting data to be in certain format for him to generate meaningful insights and reports from the data. So there should be a strong communication should be established between data analyst and data engineer. So if people fail to establish this communication, what happens? Like data analysts will be expecting their data to be in some format. Let's say if there is a big communication gap, so data engineer, he will design a pipeline assuming that it should be in this format, X format, and data analysts want that data to be in Y format. So there is a big difference. Then again, in the business meeting, they will again sit together, and the data engineer again have to redo the entire data pipeline. So there is a big gap, right? So now, what if we have like the data analyst have a chance to contribute to the data pipeline architecture. Like, what if a data analyst, if he gets a chance to contribute to the data pipeline building process done by data engineer, it will be cool, right? So there won't be any communication gaps, because data analyst is also actually involved in building the pipeline. So there won't be any communication gap. The data delivery will be much quicker. So this uh, gives rise to a new term called analytical engineer. Right now comes DBT, data build tool. Right, data build tool. So what DBT does? So DBT enables a data analyst to contribute to the data engineering pipeline architecture in a language or in a way he is very familiar with. That is nothing but SQL. So data analysts should don't have need not have to learn Python or Rust or any other data engineering pipeline coding languages. He is familiar with SQL. Using that SQL, he can contribute to the data engineering pipeline or data engineering the data pipeline ecosystem or data pipeline architecture. So DBT helps him to do that. So now the data analyst who knows DBT can be called as analytical engineer. Any doubts, Tim, till now? Are you able to understand what I'm trying to convey here? Like, where the DBT comes in picture? Any doubts? You can ask me. Are you able to
Nagaraj,
understand?
we'll take the
Yeah.
doubts in last. Okay. Can we
No,
take
in
the
between.
doubts?
Yeah, we can, but in between, because see, this is slightly theoretical, right? So if in between any doubts comes, or for them to be interactive, I'll just try to ask. If they have any doubts, I'll stop and ask. So you can feel free to
Yeah.
ask me, Tim. Yeah. So because that will, because this is theoretical. This is I didn't go to any practical thing. So this may also come in lots of interviews, because I was asked these things. What is the point of DBT? What is DBT? Why use DBT? Right. So that's why I wanted to tell all these things. So from interview perspective, I would say if you try to explain all these things, it wouldn't make any sense. So they'll straight away ask, what is DBT? We know all these things. Just give me a simple short definition of DBT. So data build tool. DBT is nothing but a tool which connects to your cloud database. Whatever the cloud database your data is residing, it connects to the cloud database. It will consume the compute resources of that cloud data warehouse, and it will do the transformations in that cloud data warehouse, and it will create target transformed data in the cloud data warehouse only. So from this, I'll just repeat it again, right? It will connect to a cloud data warehouse. It doesn't have any compute resources on its own. It will consume the compute resources of that cloud data warehouse. It will take the data from the cloud DB, and it will transform the data, and it will again dump the like it will load the transform data into the cloud DB again, maybe in a different schema. Let's say the data consumed as a raw data to DBT will be in a raw schema. It will transform everything. It will load them into a target schema or stage or anything. So, Tim, by this definition, can you tell me whether it is an ETL or ELT tool?
It's
Anybody?
ELT.
Exactly. See, right, there is no point of extracting data from a different source DB and doing transformations in the tool and loading the data into target DB. There is nothing like this. So in the DBT terminology, when I am talking about source, it is nothing but a schema which is residing in the database or to which DBT is connected. DBT gets its source data from that. It will extract the data from that. It will load the data. Again, it will load the, let's say we are writing some logics, intermediate logics. It will again load the data into that cloud DB, and finally it transforms that data and load it into that cloud DB only, maybe in a target state, in a much more clean and refined state. So that is what DBT you use for. So it's like a dummy tool. It doesn't have any uh, compute or backend server running for DBT. It will just a series of Python or SQL and Python engines running backside. It will take whatever the logics you have written in DBT. It will take those logics. Based on that logics, it will execute a SQL statements in your database, and the final output of the statement SQL statements will get stored as a tables or whatever the materialization, either views or tables in general. So that is the main purpose of DBT. So now, as I told, right, now data analyst is very familiar with SQL. Now in DBT, I'm saying that DBT we will write logics in DBT, right? DBT logics are nothing but we will call them as models inside DBT, which are nothing but SQL files. So a data analyst is very familiar with SQL, so he can write his own SQL files in DBT tool. And DBT is mainly responsible for transformations. And data engineer can simply take this DBT logic written by data analyst and he can orchestrate it. He can schedule it, orchestrate it, he can maintain it, right? Now the transformation part, like the burden on data engineer is completely reduced. Data analyst is able to write the contribute to the transformations, and that's why a data analyst who knows DBT can also be known called as analytical engineer, right? Team, are you able to follow me till now, or am I going too fast? Please let me know if I'm going too fast. Uh, so I'll take it as an S. Okay. Generally everybody knows DBT is an open source. Open source is nothing but anybody like it's not any paid version or anything. You can download DBT and run DBT by yourself, right? We have two things, mostly DBT Core, which is initially they introduced this DBT Core. It's an open source. It's an open source. Anybody can download this Git repo or install it using Python package. So DBT Core, and also we have DBT Cloud. It is slightly advanced and more. I would say it's a self-managed tool provided by the DBT team, which resides in a separate cloud environment, DBT Cloud. So they take care of few things for you. So the main difference I found out between DBT Core and DBT Cloud is DBT Cloud is capable of orchestrating the DBT jobs. Let's say I'm running some DBT logic. Let's say I'm trying to run some. I created a DBT logic. Right, in DBT Core, I have to go and manually run the DBT logic. But DBT Cloud provides you an option to schedule it. So you can maintain, like you can schedule that I want to run this particular logic I have built at this particular point of time. You can schedule jobs like this. And DBT on every, I think, quarterly basis they'll release new version like DBT 1.7, 1.8, 1.9. So if you are somebody who uses DBT Core, you have to manually upgrade the versions, because DBT Core also depends on lot of other Python packages. And sometimes if you don't upgrade the latest version of Core, you will not get some latest features, right? So if you are trying to update to the latest feature of DBT Core, you also have to mandatorily update the Python packages, which can be very cumbersome and hectic sometimes. So this DBT Cloud mitigates this. You don't have to maintain anything. You just have to open DBT Cloud, normal login, just like you log into any other cloud. You will just log into DBT Cloud. You'll write your logic there. So version management and orchestration, scheduling of logics, all these self-managed things are provided as a paid service in DBT Cloud. So right, if you are using an Airflow, an orchestrated tool, Airflow or something, Daxter or Prefect, and even for that matter, ADF or anything in AWS also we have a lot of things, right? So you are saying that I just need DBT for transformations. I can schedule it, I can maintain it on my own. So DBT Core can be more than sufficient for your use cases, right, team?
But in the real time, no company is going
Yeah.
for the open source, right?
In the real time, sorry,
No company is going for the open source, right?
why? Why would
Why
why?
they will go for that, right? Open source, we can't go for that, right?
Why?
Open source we can use. They are not giving the support. They can remove the support at any time, right?
Yeah, they can
Yeah,
remove the
right.
support.
He's talking about security prospect also because anyone can if anyone can put their jar files or kind of security threads, and also in case anything happens, you will not get any support. That's why he's talking about. But I believe that in DBT, there should be any means just like PG anything should be like that. So in case any support required, it can provide. So is
Yeah,
there
yeah.
anything like that?
So like the
Yeah,
DBT community is
end of the
definitely there.
day, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. End of the day, it is the project requirement and the company budget requirement. We cannot judge based up our intentions, because if the budget is very less at that time, people will go for the DBT core. If they were trying to do the POC kind of things, they can work with the DBT core. But end of the day, DBT cloud has also their features, because that is having this pricing constraint, right? So in this
But
course,
DBT
we are,
Cloud is too costly, right? It
yeah,
is
it is
charging per
costly.
seat,
Yeah.
right? It's charging per seat, right?
Yes, that is what I'm telling. End of the
Hmm.
day, it is the project requirement and the business
No,
require.
as a
Yeah.
architect, we have proposed to our client, right? The DBT
Mm.
Cloud, right? So we need to give them, right? They also know that, right? If the extra charge, why should we pay, right? We already using the Snowflake and all that, right?
Yeah, yeah, that is
Definitely.
what.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
that question I want to clear, right?
Yeah, that is end of the day the business requirement, whether they wanted to choose a DBT core or DBT cloud. As a data engineer, that is
No, no,
our.
no. That's not a business requirement, right? As an architect, I'm proposing that, right? DBT Cloud.
Yeah,
Okay.
And
yeah,
you're asking why.
that is what business requirements means. The budget constraint and the performance. It is their wish. Okay, we will process two models. One is the DBT core model, and one is the DBT cloud model. We have to tell which one is the best suits for them, right? Then their wish, and if they are good and they are ready with the budget, because DBT cloud is too costly and they can bear their charges, they definitely have the chance to go with the cloud only. End of the day, because it is easy to do use the DBT cloud instead of core. So we'll suggest, and also it has the security layers and more. We can use the things very easily in the DBT cloud. We'll suggest them, but at the end, it is good to have the core knowledge also. That's why in this course we have integrated DBT core and as well as
Okay.
cloud. Vicky, your
Got it.
question is very genuine. We understand the things which we are trying to teach those type of levels only. At the end of the day, we are all data engineers who wanted to give that suggestion to the business owners or the business analyst, what is the best way by doing our POCs. Yeah, we'll take the class,
Thank you.
go on, and will anything we'll take these things last at last. Please, Nagaraj, please carry forward the.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
I have one doubt.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Sridhar.
So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I have one doubt. Yeah, we are here. We are for DBT only. So I don't know it's relevant or not. But I would also like to know the what's the alternate of DBT means
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it will be
Good
very easy
question.
to relate yourself. Yeah,
Yes. 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 Absolutely. It's a very good question. May I know your name, sir? Good name, sir. Hello. Hello.
sure,
Hello.
sure. Sorry, sorry.
Kushal,
Hello, am I audible?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I'm able to hear you.
Uh,
Myself is Kushal.
Kushal. Yeah. Great. So there are alternatives for DBT. So I'm not saying DBT is an ultimate tool that is going to be a game changer. There are a lot of tools in the market. There is a tool called SQL Mesh. I think there is one more tool called I'm not sure, data something, data flag, data fold something. But SQL Mesh is something which I'm also actively looking into, because I think it's going to be a very tough competitor to DBT. So there is this cool tool called SQL Mesh, and there is another tool called DLT. Just like DBT, there is DLT. If let's say a person who is familiar with SQL, he can opt for DBT. But a person who is like comes from software engineering background, is only familiar with the coding, Python or stuff like this, he can go with DLT. It's also a wonderful tool. You definitely you can check these two, SQL Mesh and DLT Hub. You can type DLT Hub and SQL Mesh. You can compare these things, right? I believe. I also am very interested in SQL Mesh. So DBT, yeah, it's ongoing. Everything is going. We have a lot of conferences from there end too. But SQL Mesh is something. So it will also give you an exposure. SQL Mesh is an similar to DBT. It just started, and this tool is in still. It's it's not exposed, it's not fully used by teams outside. If you get involved early into such tools, what it gives you is you will become the pioneer in the community. If you try to actively do some POCs use case using such upcoming tools, you will become pioneer in that community. In future, let's say it also scores something big like DBT, so you will be on a different level in the tool expertise. So I would definitely would like to, yeah, maybe I'm not very much I don't have that much knowledge on the tools, because I have never actually involved those things. But definitely we can talk about them Maybe I can see if I can find out something about this SQL mesh and DLT. So maybe we can
Yeah,
see in
we'll have
future, near
those
future. Yeah.
webinars later, Nagaraju. We'll have those the SQL Mesh or DLT webinars later on, Kushal. And we'll continue the DBT demo as of now.
Yeah, 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 please.
Tennis demo.
Yeah, got
So
your point. Thanks, Nagaraju. So I
great.
believe that DBT is better for those who don't want to go in programming language, kind of just like Python
Yes,
or
yes,
PySpark. If you are good
exactly.
in SQL and you want to do all the transformation using SQL only, then it's best tool to move. I'm right.
Exactly, exactly. I will also tell.
Okay.
So I think Vicky are you asked the question, right? Why DBT Cloud or DBT Core? So this is the question. So when you see every tool has its open source and self-managed, even Airflow recently they also introduced Astronomer self-managed Airflow, which is a paid version. So everything has its, see, every tool, for instance, every tool, they'll start as an open source community. Once the community grows and the tool gets a large amount of reach, or it is gaining large amount of attention or audience, so they will do their fair amount of work in trying to cash out from the tool. So they will introduce with new features, they will go to they will introduce a self-managed service. So generally it is like that for every tool when it is maturing. So asking like coming to your question, DBT Core or Cloud. So in my previous org, we use DBT Core. Why? Because we already have, see, DBT Cloud. The main purpose of DBT Cloud will be, as I told, orchestrating the DBT pipelines, and also you don't have to maintain the version. So that is for me. Maybe there are other benefits, as you are saying. Yeah, they are closing the support. Maybe they are closing the support. I don't know, but for me, these are the two main things I found beneficial in DBT Cloud. And in my previous org, we are already using Azure and Azure Functions and ADF. So for orchestration purpose, we can use ADF. For triggering purpose, we can use Azure Functions or Azure. You have this event trigger service in Azure. So we thought, okay, why we have to pay extra bucks for DBT Cloud if we can maintain everything in, and also the code which we have in DBT Core, it also resides as a Docker image inside Azure. So I'm not sure if I'm not sure what, like you're saying that security purpose, we may include some jar files, and I'm not sure like how it works because I'm not aware of security related stuff. But we used DBT Core because we already have other tools which can help us in orchestration, and but maintaining version, we were good that okay, we can whenever a new thing comes, there is a separate team sitting there, they will do this version management. So we were in peace with these things, and we opted for DBT Core. But in the current org I'm working on, they're using DBT Cloud, so they don't want to go to this hassle. They just want everything that DBT provides. They straight away opted for DBT Cloud because they don't have any other tool in the stream. They have only an ETL tool, stream sets, which load data into Snowflake, and our DBT connects to that Snowflake, and it transforms and loads data into target schema of Snowflake. So right, there are not many tools involved here. We just have Snowflake, and so for orchestration again they have to go for a new tool. Why? Though, so they opted for DBT Cloud because DBT Cloud provides orchestration, and as you said, they don't security purpose may be a reason, and also they don't have to have this hassle of maintaining the version. So that's maybe, as Kartika said, it's the perspective of the client what he want to go with, but we should be able to give them clear picture. What are you going to get if you use DBT Core? What are you going to get if you use DBT Cloud? So we also have to analyze the data pipeline or cloud ecosystem where they hosted their data pipelines. If there is any similar thing that actually provides uh, similar kind of functionality what DBT Cloud does, so you have to explain them. You can also go with this if you are okay, something like that. So yeah, so this is how it
Yeah,
ultimately, if you can save few bucks for the clients, then it's beneficial. So you'll also get good exposure from the client end. So that's up to you and client. You have to clearly analyze what are the things that can you have to take DBT Core. You have to clearly analyze what are the things that we can do with DBT Core, and if he has any other tools in the ecosystem where he can leverage DBT Core, or else you can go with cloud. Did I Am I clear, Vicky? Hello? Yeah, Kushal, you
Yeah,
raised your
Naga.
hand.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I have one doubt. Yeah, you
yeah.
discussed about Snowflake and ecosystem. So I have one query. Can you let me know what's the popular technical stacks currently being used with
Popular? Sorry, you're not clear, Kushal. Can you hear me? Your
DBT,
voice is breaking.
Snowflake, and
Hello.
Kushal,
AWS or
Kushal,
yeah,
your
I'm
voice is
audible.
completely
Hello.
breaking. You can type your question here. Meanwhile, we can continue the DBT demo.
Yes, yes. So I'm
Your
audible.
voice, yeah, but
Yes.
it
I'm
in
audible.
middle it is.
So my query is that you discussed about Snowflake and other ecosystem, technical ecosystem. So I just want to know what are the technical stack where a DBT can be set, just like DBT, Snowflake, Azure or AWS. Okay, and technical stack I'm talking about. What's the popular technical stack where a DBT is fit
Got it. Got it. Good question. See, the
in
popular
sense of
technical stack.
data pipeline? Mhm.
Yeah. Got your point, Andrew. So the popular technical stack where DBT can be a very good tool that you can use is data modeling. I would say you have raw data. So what will be the business layer? Business layer will be generally marts, dimensional models, right? You will have marts and facts in general, right? You will have a data in a raw format. So you have to transform the data and get into in a such a table structure where business layer can consume that tables and generate reports out of that. Meaning that you are kind of transforming this raw data into proper structural format data, which is nothing but data modeling. You are modeling the data in a proper format that business can understand. So these are the type major use case where even in all the two organization where I worked, right, DBT comes majorly in this particular aspect where data modeling is involved, where you want to have you have to transform, you want to transform your raw data into clean data into maybe in data model, that you want to data model your raw data into dimensions and facts and things like that. So data model comes into picture. So did I clear, does it clear your doubt,
Yes,
Kushal?
yes, clear, clear. So I was
Great.
also talking about the technical stack means
Okay.
suppose that in Snowflake you are using also you can also use Snowpark kind of. Okay,
Okay.
so
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
not talking
exactly.
about the Snowpark. I'm talking about a technical stack means the popular
Mhm.
technical stack where DBT is generally used. Just like suppose that in my company, my project, I'm
Mhm.
using DBT with the Snowflake or Azure with
Got it.
and
Got it.
or AWS
No.
with
I got your
with
point.
the yeah with some orchestration tool. So I'm talking
Got
about
it. Got it.
3 or 4 different technologies.
You can connect. DBT gives us like provides a lot of adapters, right? You can connect to Databricks, you can connect to Snowflake, you can connect to PostgreSQL, normal Oracle, everything. There are DB adapters for DBT. It's not like it's only specific to Snowflake or anything. So DBT is a transformation tool. It's a generic purpose tool. You can connect to a lot of databases. So if let's say you're using Databricks, also you can connect to DBT. So DBT provides a huge
Yeah,
ecosystem of
yeah, we can
adapters,
use.
right?
Yeah, we can
Yeah.
use. I'm talking about popular technical stacks. What is more
Popularly, I would
popular with
say
DBT?
DBT Snowflake is something which I worked on primarily, and also I saw many people are using DBT with Snowflake. But I also saw some people using DBT along with Databricks also, right?
Okay.
Recently, I gave an interview for a company. So they are using DBT. They are not using Snowflake or they are not using Databricks also. They have their own database. They have designed their own database and they are using DBT for that also. For that, they don't even have any ecosystem in DBT. They have to prepare an adapter by themselves, right? So I'm not sure how it is going there because I am not I didn't get into that company currently, but this is how people are using DBT. So So I will tell the purpose of DBT. You can ask me. See, DBT is nothing but a group of SQL logics you are writing inside DBT and maintaining them in a clear folder structure. You can ask me. You can also do these kind of things can also be done in Oracle in the form of procedures and functions. This can also be done in Snowflake in the form of procedures and functions. So what is DBT that is providing beneficial? Because we can do everything that DBT does in the form of procedures and functions and using automation scripts in the bash, right? But the main purpose DBT gives you is that documentation. First, like 3 points. The first one is documentation. So whenever you are writing some logic, SQL logics in DBT, parallelly you can document. So let's say you're doing select X from Z table. You can clearly document what is the X and where we can use the X, uh, things like that. The one thing is documentation, parallel documentation. Second thing is it is clear, tightly integrated. It is integrated with Git. Everybody knows. So for example, if I am talking about a procedure written in Snowflake, let's say you and I, we both have access to that procedure. Let's say I made some change in the procedure which broke the logic somehow, but suddenly you are seeing data in a different way. Now okay, you will see, you have to see who have change the you will go to the procedure and you saw that the logic has been changed, but you won't be like you won't find out clearly that who changed the logic. But in DBT it is clear, it is integrated with Git, right? Whenever I make some change in SQL, I have to raise a pull request and I have to commit my changes and raise a pull request from my ID, and the person who reviews my logic clearly knows that I made the change, right? Let's say now he merges what my changes into the SQL logic on the DBT folder. Now let's say now the DBT pipeline ran, it broke some logic. Now he can clearly revert back the change I have made. He can take that particular change which I made. He can quickly revert back, right? If some X person made some change to SQL procedure or Snowflake procedure, you have to go and ask them, because it can be 1,000 lines of procedure. You don't know like where he made change. But in DBT, since it is integrated with Git, you can clearly see what change made by that particular person and what he made. If you don't like the change, or if it is not giving you the results you are expecting, you can clearly revert back the change. Like it is giving you the version control system. It's very powerful thing, right? Even Snowflake, I think it's in private preview. They are trying to integrate Git with their ecosystem, Snowflake. If that comes, it's a game changer, right? So that is the second point. Third point is you can parallelly test your logic while building itself, right? While running itself, you can parallelly test your logic. Let's say if I create some procedure, I have to run it and I have to see whether it is working fine or not. I have to again go and query my end data and see whether it is coming as expected. But you can, in DBT, while writing the logic itself, you can clearly keep some checkpoints in the form of tests, right? You can see this particular, let's say there is some date column. You can keep a check saying that the data that is coming into this column should always be in date format. You can keep a check like that in DBT. So you can parallelly, while writing logic itself, you can keep some checkpoints in the form of tests, which helps you maintain the data integrity, right? These are the three main points in DBT that became game changer for people to adopt DBT. Am I clear, team? Somebody please answer if possible. Hello?
Yes, yes, clear. Thanks.
Great. So, so yeah. So then, so clear, right? DBT Core, DBT Cloud, the DBT main use cases. That's what I discussed right now. So now I will open like what are the main components inside a DBT project? In general, DBT projects, inside a DBT project, right? We have a file called DBT uh, project.yaml file. So we have another file called profiles.yaml file. We'll discuss one by one, like what does it mean? What does these things mean? So we have a folder called models where we write our logics. We have another folder called macros. We have folder called tests. So these are the important folders or files so that are present in DBT. So let me quickly open a small DBT project I have done as a use case from in my just a use case which I have done using DBT. So first thing is DBT profiles. So DBT profiles is the file where you will give the connection details in DBT. Uh, Give the connection details to DBT, like to the database you want to connect. You want to connect your DBT to. You'll give all the connection details are generally given inside profiles. Right. So profiles is here you can see. I'm naming my connection as IPL data set. So my target outputs will be this, like, so this will be my connection details. My target will be dev. So the dbt project yaml file is the file which is the core file, which is the key file for DBT to recognize the particular project. So this is my project. The transformations is my project. So a DBT project file is the file which tells me that, okay, there is some DBT work going on inside this folder, and all the details regarding these projects. What are the folders? Where the folder structures? In a if you are familiar with this router.js file, when you are working with React or I think JS, so it will route uh, like it is the main page. So whenever you hit a like web application, it is the page that opens. It will route whenever you click on particular button or particular action, it will route you to that page. That is called router. So in the similar fashion, it's a router, and it's not only router, and it also maintains all the what how can I say, all the information regarding to your DBT project. So without this DBT project inside project.yaml file, you cannot run your DBT pipeline. So that is the DBT project.yaml file. So this is one thing, and we have models. So models is nothing but where you'll write all your SQL logics. See, I have written a lot of have written a couple of SQL logics here. So this is the models, right? And we have again we have snapshots. There is a concept called snapshots. So whenever you want to create some snapshots, you have to go and create here inside snapshots. We have seeds. There is a concept called seeds inside DBT. So whenever you want to create some models as seeds, you have to create them inside seeds. And we have another folder called tests, right? Let's say you want some out of box solutions for your use case. You don't want, like, you want more than the test that is provided by DBT packages. So you can define a test in as a SQL file inside this test, generic test, because generic is nothing but it can be used across everything, across models, any model, across sheets, across snapshots. You can use the test. So all that logics you will write under tests, right? Macros. So DBT provides like you with this powerful feature called macros, which are nothing but Jinja templating. So which helps you make your logic more refined. So we can discuss about them later in detail. So all these macros, which are nothing but Jinja, a kind of Jinja templating, so those can be written under this macros. I have written a couple of macros. See, so I have written a simple macro: field replace special character. So I have written this is a simple Jinja templating, I would say. It's not even a macro. So I have written these things because I want my code to be clean. So I don't want to my code to go just like a lengthy process, so that I want my code to be readable and clean. So in that cases, I'll try to use the logic inside this Jinja templating, and I'll try to call these logics inside my models. So these are some major folders and files that are present in DBT. Any doubt on this, team?
Yes, Nagad. So how do you make it as more generic in DBT? Because we have multiple
What?
business units, correct? So for
Yeah,
example,
yeah.
yeah, multiple business unit, right? So for example, I want to make it as more generic way so that other teams are using for our framework. Okay, building a framework. So how do you make
More
it as
generic.
more generic? Sorry. Hello, can
Got
you
it.
hear me?
Got your point. I can hear you. I
Yeah,
got
yeah.
your point. I will give you an example how we have dealt it in our previous work.
So that we can
As
avoid
you said,
rework, right? So we can avoid the reusable component. We can use the reusable component, right? So that is the reason I
ah,
asked you the question. Yeah.
that's a very good question. That's a very good question. I can help you with that. So this is how we have done in our previous work. So we had folders. I'll tell you, we had folders We had every client was a DBT project in and itself, by itself, right? We have a client called we had client called Morgan Stanley. Stanley. So I told you, right, how you can make a folder a DBT project. Can anybody help me? Just now I told how you can make a folder a DBT project. What is the important file that should be inside that folder to make it a DBT project? Can anybody?
Project.yaml, DBT project.yaml.
Exactly, great. So we will have a DBT project YAML inside, as essentially meaning that this is a DBT project in and itself, by itself. And we had another client called State Street, and we had a deep see, I'm not saying this is the logic generally everybody follows. Generally everybody, you, as I told, right, everybody will just use them from data for data modeling purpose. They will not have this many DBT projects inside a project. So they will generally have single DBT in our current arc we are only having a single DBT project. But since you asked this question, this can be something that can be beneficial for you. And as you said, there can be some sources, there can be some sources which are common to both these things, and they also may need some transformations. What we did, now we will create this as a separate, see, I'm generally naming it as source. This can be anything. There can be some data providers, I would say, that will be more generic. So we had a data project.yaml file inside this. Now this data provider provides data not only to, provides data to State Street and Morgan Stanley also. This is a standard one, right? Now, as you pointed out, this is a reusable component. So we should not, let's say now for Morgan Stanley, we should not again rebuild this thing. For State Street, we should not again rebuild this thing. So for this thing, what we did, we created this reusable component and a separate data DBT project by itself. And we had, there is this thing called depths inside DBT. Sorry, dependencies. Since you got, thanks for bringing up this. I forgot this thing. Total dependencies.yaml. So what it does is, there are lot of packages for for DBT also, which provides you some support. So they are nothing but DBT project built by some X person, and they are having some logic which can be useful for you. So what you will do, you will include that project inside this dependencies.yaml. So how we did, we will include our data providers DBT project, right? So we will see, we'll point to the DBT project YAML of our data providers. We will see it will be something like this. Same goes to this one, dependencies.yaml. Now, before running State Street, what I will do, for running State Street, I'll run something like DBT run State Street. It will run everything inside State Street. So before running this, what I will do, I'll run something called DBT depths. If I run DBT depths, what it will do? Whatever the reusable logic I have in my data providers, it will get pulled into the State Street. After that, I can refer whatever the things I have in my data provider, the logics, or for that case, the models, I can straightly refer them inside my State Street project. In this, you can see, right, the data provider is reusable by State Street and also by Morgan Stanley. So we have written a Python script to run these steps one by one. First, we will run DBT depths, then we will run DBT run. Once we run DBT depths, what it will do, it will load the reusable logic into State Street, and after that, we'll run DBT run. So whatever the reusable components or models that are present in this data providers folders can be called directly from State Street. Simple, clear?
Yes, but the writing the SQL, right? So that is also a little more generic, right? Because it will
Writing
not work out.
the SQL.
Yes, yes. For example, if we select star from something, right? We are taking from the active records. Just an example. Okay. For example, you are taking the active records. Effective start date equal to 9999 something. Okay. So that will be common for all the SQL which we are bringing that. So in this case, how the format would be, for example, select star from that maybe n number of tables, correct? A, B, C, D, many databases, correct?
Yeah.
So make it as more generic, right? So
For that, we have macros. That's what I
okay.
was saying. So
Okay.
macros is so see, now I have written some logic. I can call this macro in all the models I have. Whatever the model I have, I can call this. I call it somewhere, but you can call it anywhere. So that's why I named it as commons. So
Okay.
generally, as you said, we can name it as generic also. So that is the main purpose of actually macros or Jinja templating. So that if you can, you let's say you're trying to do some where condition, you are, as you are saying, effective date 999 something, you have to write the coalesce 999 everywhere. Wherever the date is right null, you have to write 999, and that is simple generic thing. What you can do, you can simply write a macro similar like this. I can say something like this: coalesce try to work date format. If this not work, what I'll do, I'll just, as you said, I'll just simply write 999 sorry, 9 01 01. This is how it ends, right? Great. See, if this is sorry, I'll remove this. If this is null, now I can call this everywhere, anywhere. Sorry, I see, simple. Now instead of null date, I'll just say this as null date. Let me see where I actually use this. I would have used it somewhere. Uh, One sec. uh, s- Team. See, I have used something called field replace. In the similar fashion, here for date, I have used the convert date. In the similar fashion, you call that null date wherever you want. You can straight away call that null date. It won't do anything, right? What it does is, it will let's say if I am using null date here. So when you compile this code, this is how it will get generated. Uh, So this null, what it does is simply it will replace whatever you have in that inside that macro or Jinja template. I would say it's not essentially macro. It will simply replace whatever you have here. Uh, 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 where okay, what is this? How to ah not this one. Sorry, too many files open. I just missed the file.
Yeah, yeah, no
No
problem.
worries.
Thanks for clarifying my doubts. Okay. And one more
Okay.
doubts, one more doubts we have. So, for example,
Yeah.
DBT is more closely working with the Snowflake, correct? That's why, as you told, right? So, more majorly people are working on the Snowflake area, correct?
I
So,
wouldn't say it is closely working, but yeah, as you said, those guys have a lot of support for Snowflake functionality, but it shouldn't necessarily be that too much centric to Snowflake, because people will lose interest. If I am a guy who's using Databricks, why I'll be using data DBT if they are concentrating more on, as you said, more on Snowflake. But yeah, as you said, they have fair good amount of support to Snowflake, I would say.
okay. So, in this case, majorly we are using for the transformation and the documentation purpose, right? The test case creation or something,
Uh,
right? That will be used for. So, one more, yeah.
versioning is very important. Yeah.
Okay. So one more thing is like so. For example, if you have the data in Athena, right? For example, Athena DB, right? So can we connect in the DBT will support?
See, this is one thing we have to see. You have data in Athena,
Mm.
you will connect to DBT, and where you want to load the data. That is what important here. Where you want to load the data that you have connected, you have it Athena, where you want to load the data after transformations.
Can we do it in Athena? Same Athena itself, some other S3 file.
We can no, we can do it only in Athena. That's what I'm saying. It
Okay.
in profiles, the Snowflake, the see, if they can provide multiple support for multiple sources, it will be game changer. people
Okay.
will be jumping on these guys, but you can connect to one database at a time in
Okay.
DBT, right? Yeah, I
Okay.
have
Good.
here. Yeah, so here, sorry, yeah, I'll explain now. So I was telling about macros. So it will simply take this. Again, I missed it. Man. Uh, it will simply replace it here with the column name, because you mentioned the column name as a parameter. It's a reusable logic, right? Column name can be date, birth date, something like that. As simple as that. See, now you can use this thing at lot of places. This what is that macro I told? The null date macro. Just an answer to your question, where we can reuse these things, right? Clear?
Yes.
Oh, great.
And can you
So,
capture the
yeah.
CDC logic in using DBT?
CDC logic is present in Snowflake itself, right? Why do you want to see the DBT? We can build SED type 2s, but I'm
Okay.
not SED type 2 is in slightly. I wouldn't say it's completely a CDC, but yeah, it for an extent it can also be considered as CDC. SED type 2 can be built using DBT. So if we have CDC in Snowflake,
Okay.
if you enable for a particular table, if you enable CDC, I think there should be something in DBT which like whatever the tables get created in Snowflake, maybe we can mention something called CDC equal true, something like that. In that way, we can achieve CDC. But I'm not sure essentially if we can uh, achieve CDC using DBT.
Okay.
Because Snowflake itself is providing CDC, even Databricks is providing CDC. Where DBT is just a tool used for transformations. DBT CDC logic should be entirely driven by your cloud data warehouse. Then only you'll have a proper audit and log for that. Yeah,
Okay. Got it. Thank you.
that's the agenda for today. So that's what I plan to explain. Yeah, hope.
Thank you,
Uh,
Nagaraju. The
yeah,
session was
hope
very nice, actually. Very interactive as well, as we mentioned.
yeah, I didn't find it intact. I was asking questions, but yeah, I can understand. But
That's fine.
because
And
the
interaction
yeah,
happened, right? So
yeah,
whoever interested in our trainings, please let me know. And so we got one query whether it is a weekdays or weekends. We have both. Mostly
we
we prefer weekdays because daily 1 hour is good instead of having the bulk hours in the same day. So daily
yeah, it
one
will be
hour and
draining. Yeah,
half.
it will be draining for everybody, even for me and for you guys also. We may even miss some concepts in a hurry that okay, this is weekend, we have to complete. Weekdays, an hour of learning every day will be actually very good. It will be
Yeah,
even healthy for you to have time. You can also have time to practice, right? But I would
45
prefer
minutes.
an hour
Yeah.
week. Yeah. Yeah.
1 hour class is very good actually. This is the weekdays training you can take. If you want weekends also, please let me know. The question was asked by Ganesh. Ganesh, are you there? And Muthu,
Yeah.
Kushal, Devender,
At
and
what time daily?
Cloud Data Engineer. Timing will be, and this is a new batch, right? So we wanted to start with you all guys only who are interested. Nagraju, what is your time slots actually?
We'll do one thing. Since we are connected in WhatsApp, if you guys are interested, everybody we will you just give you the time
Nagraju,
you are
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, that's fine. What is your comfortable timings? Because trainer
So generally,
comfortable
morning is what I would prefer, because
timing
morning we can get this done. So somewhere around 10 o'clock will be good for me.
10 a.m.
So
10 a.m. is fine.
10 a.m.
Anyone has any issue with that? Hello, Muthu, Ganesh, Kushal, Devender.
Not much for me. Generally.
It is not working for you.
Yeah. Even for me also not okay. So
Yeah, what's your timings actually? Your preferable timing in the evenings?
no, because we have continuous call, so we need to support for that.
before 8:30 a.m.
You work for how many work? How many hours you work?
We need to have some training hours in our academics. In our academics, how we studied, right? Likewise, in our software engineering as well, we need some timing for
No,
academics.
no. See, it's a general suggestion from my end. So not about this training. In a day, just give 1 hour for upskilling. That will be very
Yes.
good because yeah, maybe this training, if you are interested, that's okay, that's fine. But generally, you cannot complete it well in the project, giving saying that you are giving 20, because ultimately they will only give the amount they have decided. It's not whatever you want. So I would say upskill yourself, guys. So that will be very
Yeah,
important
this
for
is
you.
a 30 days training. Okay. Make 30 days efficiently, because if you have already have experience on Snowflake, then DBT is asset for you. I definitely tell you, DBT is a one kind of asset for you. We can refer as you as well. We'll have some connections. I'll do the job reference as well, but there is no guarantee anything on that. But if your profile, if you are experienced above 4 years, we'll definitely do the referencing. That is for sure. And the timings on all 7:30 and 9:30 p.m. What would be the preferable time, Nagaraju? We'll go with evening only in PM, from 7:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. or 9:30 p.m.
7:30 I will have a call actually.
Okay, we'll
So
go with
after 9 is
8:30.
fine for me. After 9 is
9 p.m.
fine for me.
9 p.m.
Since they are saying right, if 9 should be something, everybody, maybe it should be okay with everybody, I would think.
Devender, for you, is it okay for 9 p.m.? Hello. Please discuss, right, if you really wanted to, because we are very flexible actually. That's why we are asking you guys. We our thought is to have the minimum minimum number of students in the class, because the interaction needs to be happen between the trainer and the student. Then only can have that type of bond between the trainer and the student. We need some productivity out of these trainings. That is the thing. Yeah, okay. 9 p.m. is okay. And whoever really interested, I'll be all whoever is not in the group, right? The October demo group. I'm sharing the link here. Please join in that group. You'll get updates from there.
Okay.
So I'm sharing the group link here. I think Kushal is there in the group. He'll continue the classes. Yeah, open this link. And I already shared our social media channels. Please have the at least the follow to our social media websites and channels as well, because we'll give some free webinars as well, and also contest. That is very valuable actually. Devender, are you able to join this WhatsApp group? And if
No.
anything changes,
Yeah, I
no,
will join.
please join.
I will
Please
join. Yeah.
join. Please
Yeah.
join there. And Ganesh, hello, are you there?
Yes.
Yeah, have you joined the group, Ganesh?
Yeah, let me join.
Muthu, for you? May I know who is this cloud data engineering? May I know your name? I know Chandrasekhar. He is my good friend. Who is this cloud data engineer? Just wanted to know the name. So, all we are all data engineers, right? We wanted to form a community of data engineers where we wanted to do some knowledge, free webinars as well. I wanted to welcome you all as a speaker also in our webinars. That is one more opportunity for you guys. And Muthu, are you fine with these timings?
Yes, sometimes it will okay, sometimes it will be not
Yeah, we are
suitable. Let
providing
me check.
recordings
Let me check
also.
and confirm you.
Yeah, we are providing recordings also. That's your wish.
Okay.
Okay, and anything needs to be changed now, 30 minutes before or after, please let me know. We'll do that one, not a problem. And yeah, if anyone all confirmed me whether you are joined in that group or not. If not, I'll wait. Otherwise, we'll wrap the session.
I have
Good
joined.
day, guys. It's already the very, very good demo. Nagaraju, I'm appreciating you. Thanks for the patience, and you have answered all the questions. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Have a good day and a good time as well.